Welcome back to 15 Lanes Talk Game Week 27 review show. We are going to talk about all the games that happened all over the weekend as we saw Chelsea dropping points to Burnley, Manchester City humbling Newcastle at the Etihad Stadium, Liverpool getting their revenge on Nottingham Forest at the City Ground, and Arsenal dominating the North London derby again. Let's go! Chelsea versus Burnley. Chelsea won, Burnley won at the Stamford Bridge. Some of the biggest talking points of this game. We saw Chelsea dropping points again in back-to-back games against the bottom half teams, and most especially the teams that are in the relegation battle. They are just fighting to stay up in the league. You understand? Last week it was against Leeds, and this week it was against Burnley. And remember, these two back-to-back fixtures are some of the easiest fixtures for Chelsea. These fixtures of Chelsea are very, very hard on paper, because football is a game that's played in real time. The game can be hard on paper, but in reality, things can unfold. Maybe Chelsea will win those next fixtures, or it will struggle to win them, or it will drop points in those fixtures. You know, we talked about Burnley shocking Crystal Palace last week. In my preview show on this channel, I talked about this. I said, are we going to see Burnley shock Chelsea also the same way Wolves shocked Arsenal and they got a point at their home ground? Yes, we saw Burnley with that late equalizer to make sure that they get a point at the Stamford Bridge, whereby they haven't won. Burnley haven't won at the Stamford Bridge since 2017, but this time around they got a point. You understand? Chelsea was dominating this game till that moment where Wesley Fofana decided to get a red card with that reckless challenge, and he was already on the yellow. And even his yellow was a reckless tackle. You understand? And their next fixture is against Arsenal, so they won't be with Wesley Fofana against Arsenal. And also, as we mentioned, their upcoming fixtures, the next 6 fixtures are not easy. So Wesley Fofana is going to miss like 2 to 3 games. You understand? So, and also we know the injuries Chelsea have in their back line. So it's not going to be It's not going to be easy at all for Chelsea in this period. Chelsea have now dropped 17 points from the winning position. This is not a good thing. You understand? They have dropped many points. Even at Leeds, they were leading and they ended up dropping points. You understand? But the only positive about Chelsea and Liam Rafinha, Pedro has now 9-goal contribution since the appointment of Liam Rafinha. He's the one who scored that Chelsea first goal against Burnley. He scored against Leeds. You understand? He has been on fire. Manchester City versus Newcastle. Manchester City 2, Newcastle 1. Some of the biggest talking points of this game. As we mentioned in our preview show, we said this is one of those high-stake games for Manchester City to keep pressure on Arsenal, and also to make sure that Newcastle doesn't get a win on the Etihad Stadium, and they have to wait till next season, until when Guardiola leaves Manchester City. You understand? This game was really, really important for Manchester City. All the action happened in the first half. You understand? All the action in the second half, Manchester City just came out to control the game and play on the counter. We saw Nico O'Reilly scoring that brace to silence the Magpie at the Etihad Stadium. Since Nico O'Reilly stepped into the Manchester City first team, he has been putting in performance after performance after performance. Even if he plays at the left back, he has been putting performance. Now he was moved in the midfield, he's been putting up those performances. You understand? We saw Haaland also. Haaland did not score in this game, but he assisted. You understand? He assisted Nico O'Reilly his second goal to make sure that Manchester City keeps the pressure and the title race alive. You understand? It's not going to be an easy title race for both Arsenal and Manchester City. Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. Nottingham Forest 0, Liverpool 1. Some of the biggest talking points of this game. Liverpool finally got their revenge on Nottingham Forest at the City Ground with that 1-0 win. You understand? Remember, Nottingham Forest humbled Liverpool at the Anfield in the first leg of this fixture. Liverpool with Europe on the line and also Nottingham Forest fighting relegation battle. We knew this game was going to be a high-stake game. Nottingham Forest dominated this game. In the halftime, they dominated, making sure that Liverpool just had only 3 touches in their box. You understand? But and still Nottingham Forest failed to capitalize to score in this game. You understand? On the other hand, they've brought in a new coach who won against Fenerbahce in the Europa League. But the biggest thing, the biggest problem right now, as Nottingham Forest are in the relegation battle, the coach got a red card, and they still have many important games to play. So the coming games, the coach won't be, Victor Pereira won't be there on the touchline. You understand? But Mark Alistair made sure to secure the 3 points for Liverpool with that late winner, with an assist from Virgil van Dijk. You understand? We all know Liverpool are still fighting for the European positions. Florian Wirtz got an injury when he was warming up, so we are just going to wait and see the news that will be coming out from the Liverpool medical team to tell us, is it a serious injury or it was just a minor injury, because Champions League knockout stages are coming and also European positions are at stake. You understand? So you don't need to lose players right now. Spurs versus Arsenal. Spurs 1, Arsenal 4 at the White Hart Lane. Some of the biggest talking points of this game. This was one of the biggest London derbies in the history, because one team right now is fighting relegation and the other team is fighting to win the league. The pressure to win the league is on, and the pressure to stay in the league is also on. And if we see not Spurs fixtures, the upcoming fixtures, they are not easy at all. As we all know, Spurs injury record this season, they have very many players out with injuries. You understand? They have Nottingham Forest, Leeds in some of those fixtures, and these are some of the teams fighting to stay in the league. You understand? And right now, 10 games are remaining. It's not going to be easy at all. We saw Arsenal humble Spurs at the White Hart Lane with that Eze's brace and Victor Gyökeres's brace also. You understand? Which made Victor Gyökeres to move to 10 goals in the Premier League this season, and he was also man of the match in this game. You understand? This is one of the best performances of Victor Gyökeres since he signed for Arsenal. If you put away the Brentford game, even though Arsenal dropped point, but he put in a shift in that game, and this game he has been improving week in, week out. You understand? And the best thing about him, he strikes the ball really well. If you put the balls at the platter for him, he has that ability to strike the ball really clean. You understand? And now relegation is the reality for Spurs, as we have said. You understand? Their upcoming fixtures on paper, they are not easy, but as I always say, football is reality. Anything can happen. But if we go on paper and we see the fixtures, blah, blah, we know the fixtures, and we see the Spurs injuries, on paper, they are not going to be easy for Spurs. But in reality, maybe Spurs may get the points. And we saw in this game, Mickey van der Beek and the new coach, Tudo, as Tudo was trying to tell him to push up, and Mickey van der Beek was not pushing up, blah, blah. So there is still trouble in paradise. But are we going to see Spurs getting relegated and Arsenal win the Premier League in the same season? It will be cinema.